Welcome to the Mindcut series. You're here with us because you want those key insights, distilled and ready to use.
That's right. And today we're diving into a really interesting conversation. It's from the Jocko Podcast with Jocko Willink and Echo Charles.
Yeah, and they were talking specifically about advice for new guys showing up to a SEAL platoon.
Which sounds super specific, right? But honestly, the wisdom in there, it applies way beyond that. Stick around.
Totally. Think of this less like military training and more like, fundamental principles for hitting the ground running in any new team, any tough situation.
Exactly. Our mission here is to unpack that stuff for you. The actionable bits, the why behind them, and show you how it connects to your life. Save you some time, maybe spark some aha moments.
So the key questions are really, what does it actually take for a newcomer to thrive in a place like that, beyond just, the technical skills?
And maybe more importantly for everyone listening, how can we take those core ideas and use them for our own growth, personally, professionally, whatever?
And they kick it off with this really foundational idea, which makes it instantly relevant.
Yeah, Jocko and Echo basically say, look, being a good new guy in a SEAL team, fundamentally, it's about being a good human being. Simple as that, really.
Okay, yeah, let's dig into that, because you hear a SEAL team, you think crazy skills, weapons, tactics.
And sure, that stuff's necessary, obviously.
Yeah.
You need the job skills. But they stress that your character, how you act, how you interact, that's what really matters long term.
It's not just what you can do, but who you are in that team environment.
Precisely. And Jocko tells this story, pretty vivid, from when he first checked into SEAL Team 1 right after BUDS.
Which is already this insane achievement, right?
Yeah.
BUDS is legendary for being tough.
Unbelievably tough. So these guys arrive feeling pretty accomplished, probably, and the Command Master Chief greets them.
And the greeting wasn't exactly warm and fuzzy, was it?
No, not at all. Jocko described him pointing at each new guy, dropping some very colorful language, basically saying their training meant nothing now.
Ouch. Like you haven't earned anything yet.
Exactly that. The message was super blunt. Your reputation starts now, earn it. Then he just tells them to get out.
Wow. Talk about a reality check. Instant humility, right?
Totally. After pushing so hard, achieving so much, boom. Back to square one, in a way. It really set the tone. But then, a bit later, the Master Chief brought them back.
Okay, so round 2. What happened then?
This time, he laid out 4 key pieces of advice, like the absolute bedrock principles for making it there. And these are the things that really translate.
All right, let's get into them. What's number 1?
First one, keep your mouth shut. Keep your ears open.
I heard that one before, but in this context, wow. It's about humility, isn't it? Listening more than talking.
Especially when you're new, it shows you respect the experience around you, that you're there to learn, to absorb, not just assert yourself.
It kind of flips the script on leadership sometimes. You think you need to be loud, take charge.
But here, it's understand first. Yeah. Listen. Learn the dynamics, the unspoken rules. It's actually crucial for effective leadership later, too, not just for new guys.
Makes sense. Okay, what was the second piece of advice?
Don't be late. Seems basic, right?
Yeah, show up on time. Standard stuff.
But in that world, and really in any high-stakes team, it's way more than basic manners. It's about respect. For the team, for the mission, for everyone's time.
They mentioned someone calling it a betrayal to the team. That's strong.
Yeah, Bobby Holland. Because it shows your priorities aren't aligned, that you might not be reliable when things get serious. It impacts everything.
They had that rule, Tony's rule. Everything takes half an hour.
Right, just build in that buffer automatically. Jocko said he'd rather be way early than even a second late. It's a signal of commitment. Tells the team they can count on you.
Okay, so listen first, be on time. What's number 3?
Don't forget any gear. Again, it sounds obvious, but the stakes are just so high.
Life or death stakes, potentially. Not just inconvenient.
Exactly. Forgetting one thing could compromise safety, the mission, everything. They told a story about a really competent guy, Gif, who forgot something once.
And it became a lesson for everyone.
Yep.
A stark reminder. It reinforces that mindset of absolute thoroughness, double-checking, triple-checking. They even had that little ritual, right?
The helmet nods, primary, secondary check before every op. Simple, but vital.
And that flows right into the next idea, really, which is redundancy. 2 is 1, 1 is none.
Having backups. Because things break, plans change.
Always. It's not paranoia, it's practical reality. Have a backup plan, backup gear. Jocko even shared a personal story about forgetting his blood chit and cash early on. Small things, but a big lesson in preparedness.
So those 4 from the Master Chief: listen, Be punctual, be prepared, have backups. They really form a solid foundation.
Absolutely. And like we said, the principles behind them, totally transferable. They're about respect, reliability, thoroughness, works anywhere.
Okay, so beyond those initial four, what else did they dive into?
Well, they talked about look for work, which apparently comes from kill house training.
Like clearing rooms and stuff. Yeah, that kind of controlled chaos. But the principle is broader. It's about initiative, seeing what needs doing and just doing it without waiting to be asked.
So not just standing around waiting for orders, being proactive.
Exactly. It's like the new guy's version of decentralized command, they said. See a gap, fill it. See a need, meet it. Shows you're engaged, you're thinking ahead.
Like setting up a machine gun on the perimeter or just helping unload gear.
Simple stuff sometimes. But it shows you're part of the team, pulling your weight. And then there was that incredible story about Bobby Holland.
Oh, yeah, during that super hot multi-day op.
Yeah, brutal conditions. A teammate was really struggling, close to heat exhaustion. And Bobby, without being asked, gave the guy his own machine gun to carry. A heavy piece of kit.
Wow, just handed it over.
Yeah, just saw his teammates suffering and put the team's needs, that guy's well-being, above his own task, his own comfort. That's look for work and team first rolled into one powerful moment. Builds incredible trust.
That's a serious example of putting the team first. Okay, what came next?
Then a cluster of related ideas. Be teachable, be eager to learn, and have a notepad in hand.
Right, these feel connected. It's about attitude again, isn't it? Openness.
Totally. Showing up ready to learn, actively wanting to understand. It signals respect for the people who've been there longer. They contrasted it with the frustration of dealing with know-it-alls.
Yeah, nobody likes the guy who thinks he knows everything already. Shuts down communication.
And that simple notepad, it's surprisingly effective. Shows you're serious, helps you actually remember stuff accurately, and combats that feeling of being overwhelmed with new info.
Jocko even used the example of himself being the new guy in business school.
Yeah.
Right? Needing to ask questions, look up tutorials.
Yeah, it proves it's universal. Doesn't matter how experienced you are in one area. When you're new somewhere else, you got to be humble, ask for help, seek out knowledge, continuous learning.
So actively engage. Show you want to learn. Got it. What else?
Next up, the hard way is usually the right way, or the related do it right or do it again.
The anti-shortcut principle.
Pretty much. Resisting that temptation to cut corners, even when it seems quicker or easier in the moment. Because usually, doing it thoroughly, properly, pays off long term.
They told that story about the recon mission, didn't they? Going out a second night.
Yeah, hydrographic survey. They could have maybe fudged it or used less precise data from the first night, but to get it right, to meet their own standards, they did the hard thing and went again. True frogmen don't cut corners, was the idea.
But they did add that caveat, right? It's not about being dumb hard.
Exactly. If there's a genuinely smarter, more efficient way, take it. But when it's about compromising standards versus doing it right, choose doing it right, even if it's harder.
Okay, makes sense. What about mistakes? Because new guys will make mistakes.
Absolutely. And that's the next principle. Don't make the same mistake twice. Mistakes are expected, even accepted, especially early on.
But repeating them is the problem.
That's the key. Learn from it. Own it. Don't try to hide it or make excuses. They mentioned a guy who lied about something.
And the Master Chief knew anyway.
Yep. Underscores the need for honesty and accountability. Jocko also shared his own mistake, jumping too early from a plane in training because he misread a signal. Led to the whole team jumping wrong.
Whoa. Shows how one error can cascade and how important rehearsals are.
Definitely. And they also pointed out that complacency is a risk even for experienced people. You constantly have to fight making old mistakes again. They give examples from deployment tunnel vision, getting tricked by the enemy, painful lessons, but you have to learn.
Don't make the same mistake twice. Critical. Okay, what else?
Then slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Heard that one mainly in shooting contexts. Controlled movements are faster overall than jerky, rushed ones.
Exactly. But they applied it much more broadly. It's about deliberate action over rushed, error-prone attempts in anything you do. Think before you act, move smoothly.
Like the Odo loop. Observe, orient, decide, act. Doing that smoothly, not frantically.
Right. They use the example of preparing breaching charges at night. You absolutely cannot rush that. It requires intense focus, meticulous detail, slow, smooth, deliberate, because fast and sloppy could be fatal.
And they contrasted that with a parachute packing story. rushing led to a malfunction.
Yeah, feeling peer pressure, packing too fast, not deliberately, and it caused a problem. It ties back to taking care of yourself, your gear, do it right.
And they extended that take care of idea too, right?
Yeah, take care of your gear, take care of your body, stay fit, even when things are slow, and crucially, take care of your people, treat your team well.
All stemming from that slow is smooth mindset of deliberate quality action. Okay, what's a goal for the new guy in all this?
Ultimately, it's become an asset and make yourself indispensable. That's the objective.
Move from being the new guy to being a trusted, reliable part of the team.
Exactly. Put in the work, find mentors, grab opportunities, look for ways to contribute beyond the minimum. They mentioned a comms guy who proactively found better solutions.
And even just being reliable on time with the right gear that makes you an asset right there.
Absolutely, it's foundational. Then there's keep your world small.
How does that work? Sounds like limiting yourself.
It's more about focus, especially under pressure. When things get overwhelming, don't freak out about the big picture. Focus on the immediate next step, your procedures, your task, right now.
Like the diver with an air problem, focus on step 1 of the emergency procedure, then step 2.
Precisely. Don't get paralyzed by the whole situation. Jocko told that intense story about his own parachute malfunction, his ruck becoming a sail.
Yeah, that sounded terrifying.
But he had to stay calm, keep his world's small focus only on regaining stability so he could pull his reserve chute, handle the immediate critical task.
That's intense mental discipline. They contrasted that with mission planning, though, the 13 rule.
Yeah, the 13 gear prep, 13 rehearsals, 13 execution rule. There, being efficient with the known stuff, gear prep, lets you spend more time on the crucial parts like rehearsals and adapting to the unknown. Walkthroughs build that muscle memory.
Okay, so keep your world small for crisis moments, but plan broadly otherwise. Got it. What about that redundancy thing again?
Right. 2 is 1, 1 is none. They circled back with another great story from Bobby.
The submarine training disaster.
Yeah, the Zodiac, flipping, soaking the radio, missing the sub, getting stranded. It sounded like a comedy of errors, but the point was serious.
A backup radio would have saved them hours, maybe days of misery.
Totally. And they mentioned other times spare engines, HF radios, where having that backup was absolutely critical. It's just smart planning.
Okay, another one they mentioned was, if you're not going to be smart, be hard.
Yeah. Kind of sums up the new guy role sometimes. You might lack the experience, the knowledge, the smarts yet.
So you compensate with sheer effort and toughness.
Exactly. Be willing to carry the heavy stuff, work the longest hours, endure the worst conditions without complaining. They talked about Overwatch ops and searing heat.
Just sitting there, sweating buckets, being miserable, but doing the job. That requires grit.
Pure toughness? Sometimes that's what you bring to the table initially, and it's respected.
And underpinning almost all of this, attention to detail.
Absolutely fundamental, drilled in from day one. In their line of work, small details can have huge consequences, but it's also about reputation.
How you do anything is how you do everything, that saying.
That's the one. Mastering the small stuff shows you're capable of handling the big stuff. It's essential for future leaders, too. You need to understand the ground-level details.
They shared that funny but practical advice, too, about
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never miss an opportunity to take a piss.
Right. And the story about delaying a helicopter because someone hadn't followed that advice seems trivial, but it impacts the mission.
Little things matter. Attention to detail covers everything.
Okay, and then there's a whole list of other sort of rapid-fire rules they touched on.
Yeah, a bunch of good ones, like the order of priorities. Team gear, platoon gear, personal gear, then yourself. Team first, always.
Always go out, meaning take every training opportunity, right? Get the reps in.
Yep. Maximize experience. Then, why stand when you can sit? Why sit when you can lie down? Basically, conserve energy, rest when you can. Smart survival.
Go talk to your chief. Use the chain of command. Don't freelance problem.
Yeah, and the uniform one. Avoid wearing it, but if you have to, look perfect. Professionalism, respect. They mentioned task unit bruiser looking sharp.
And adapt and overcome.
Yeah.
Core SEAL mantra, right? Problem solving, resilience.
Absolutely. Stay with your swim buddy.
Right.
Fundamental teamwork, mutual support, accountability, not just in the water, but always having that two-person integrity.
Never go backwards.
Duh.
Keep pushing forward on the mission. Don't retreat unless absolutely necessary.
Plan your dive your plan. Preparation is key, but also be ready to adapt that plan if needed.
And the practical gear tips. Bring a beanie and a Gore-Tex. Because conditions change unexpectedly.
Yeah, being cold and miserable is, well, miserable. Avoid it if you can. And finally, train and maintain. Constant improvement, physically and mentally.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot of ground covered.
Yes.
So boiling it all down, what's the big message for listeners?
I think it's that these principles, even though they come from this super intense, specific environment, they're actually incredibly fundamental guides to navigating challenges and just being effective anywhere.
It's not just about SEALs, it's about excellence. Humility, learning, preparation, resilience, teamwork, detail.
Exactly. Applying these things consciously, being humble, being prepared, looking for work, learning from mistakes. That's how you grow, how you become valuable, whether it's at your job, in your family, any team you're part of.
So the final thought for you listening is maybe. Which one of these new guy principles hits home for you right now?
Yeah, where could focusing on one of these, maybe being more teachable or paying more attention to detail or just being reliably on time, make a real difference in your world?
There's something to chew on. Reflect on it. See how maybe applying one of these seemingly simple rules could unlock something for you.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. And hey, if you want to explore more from Jocko and Echo, you can check out the resources they mentioned on their show.
Absolutely. Until our next Mind Cut.